In the 1950s, a young preacher called Jim Jones mesmerized audiences with impassioned sermons on equality, justice, and a racism-free and poverty-free utopia. Amidst a world torn apart by segregation, Jones's message was electrifying. He spoke of salvation not only for the soul, but for society. In 1955, he established the People's Temple in Indiana, fusing Christian revivalism and liberal politics. He taught that heaven could be established here on this earth, a utopia of racial harmony and commonwealth. And to many, particularly the downtrodden and the desperate, Jim Jones appeared as a savior. But beneath the sermons was a man fixated on control. Jones wasn't content with just followers. He required absolute loyalty. Eventually, the People's Temple grew into something more than a church. It was a closely controlled world where doubting Jones equaled betrayal, and betrayal equaled exile, or worse. By the early 1970s, rumors of Jones's abuse of power, staged healings, and money laundering began circulating. In fear of being exposed, he relocated the temple headquarters from Indiana to California, initially to Ukiah, then San Francisco. There, he gained political clout, associating with influential leaders who ignored his increasing paranoia due to his huge voting bloc and social activism. But Jones's hold was faltering. Media probes, defectors, and escalating suits threatened to destroy his empire. So, in 1977, he took hundreds of his most devoted followers deep into the jungles of Guyana, South America. They named it Jonestown, a promised land where they could at last live free of persecution. Initially, the colony was a dream come true. Smiling faces, shared labor, children playing in the fields. But beneath the surface, Jonestown was a gulag. Machine guns guarded the perimeter. Jones, now frail and addicted to drugs, enforced control through fear. Sleep deprivation, public humiliation, and incessant white night drills, where followers rehearsed mass suicides, became the norm. Jones taught that the enemies were all around: the CIA, defectors, racist governments. He told his people that if they ever tried to leave, they would be tortured, or worse. Paranoia bred in the jungle's darkness, isolated from the world. In November 1978, U.S. Representative Leo Ryan visited Guyana to look into the temple following allegations of abuse. He went along with reporters and distraught family members. Initially, Jones orchestrated a warm reception, but fissures soon appeared. Jones's followers smuggled Ryan notes pleading for rescue. Seeing the risk, Ryan chose to bring defectors out. Meanwhile, at the local Port Kaituma airstrip, Jones's bodyguards ambushed the party, executing Congressman Ryan, 3 reporters, and a defector. It was the first time ever that an incumbent U.S. congressman had been murdered in the course of duty. And in Jonestown, back home, Jim Jones already understood the end had arrived. He called his militia to the middle pavilion. The last white night had come. But this one wasn't rehearsal. Jones addressed the crowd through megaphones, his tone exhausted, cracking, but forceful. He termed it an act of revolutionary suicide, a rebellion against a harsh world. He depicted death not as a terminus, but as a victory. And under the overwhelming burden of fear, loyalty, and despair, most complied. Mothers initially administered syringes of tainted flavor aid, spiked with cyanide, to their children. Wails of mourning echoed through the jungle as infants and toddlers convulsed and perished in their mother's arms. Others tried to struggle free, but soldiers armed with guns and crossbows made sure none got away. In the mayhem, a handful of them managed to escape into the thick jungle, lying low as the slaughter took place. But for most of them, there was no escape. Within an hour, more than 900 men, women, and children were dead. A sea of bodies still beneath the Guyanese sun. Jim Jones himself was discovered slumped over in a chair, a victim of a gunshot to the head. Self-inflicted or assisted, one cannot say. The devastation appalled the world. Photos of the mass deaths filled newspaper pages and television monitors, haunting a generation. The phrase, "drinking the Kool-Aid," a harsh reminder of blind devotion, entered the cultural vocabulary. The tragedy left cold questions. How could normal people, teachers, nurses, families, be driven to such a fate? How could passion turn so fatal? The solution is in the gradual erosion of freedom, critical thought, and faith in oneself. Jones didn't take over his followers' minds overnight. He took away their autonomy, incrementally, trading doubts for fear, autonomy for obedience, love for terror. In Jonestown, doubt meant betraying the family you had sacrificed everything for, and betrayal, they were instructed, was worse than death. Jonestown remains today not only a tragedy, but a warning, a reminder that charisma can be a cover for corruption, how utopian fantasies can turn into nightmarish traps, and how the human desire to belong, when played on, can guide even the most kind-hearted among us to the darkness. It's a tale of loss of life, of trust, of hope itself, and one which can never be forgotten.